Uh, Today I want to talk about something which I have been experiencing for almost all my career and during my study in the college. I'm talking about modeling, uh, or let me call it how to understand a software and how to think before you start to write code and implement the software. So during the time I was on college uh, to gain my BS in computer engineering, we had some subjects about modeling and understanding the software. And I read a 700-page book about how to model a software. There was a lot of, uh, let me say, trends, a lot of methodologies, a lot of thinking by that time, which I did not understand how to do it efficiently and in in a way which you can exchange it with other software engineers right away, like by this time. But during my career, I developed the understanding for how to model a software and how to present your ideas on how to implement a software. The obvious example, which is I think majority of the software engineers know about it, is UML. UML is bunch of diagrams. The most known ones is sequence diagram, class diagram, activity diagrams. Those are the known ones. There is a lot of diagrams used on the UML. UML started in IBM. It was the way or how IBM exchange ideas or exchange how the software should be implemented internally. I remember I attended an interview on IBM, and the senior software engineer asked me that, what do you like on software engineering? What do you think your career will move after in IBM? And leave alone my answer, but he said that he liked modeling, he liked to write bunch of artifacts and give them to software engineers to implement those artifacts. So when I was back in college, when I started to understand modeling, it was very difficult for me to like model a software. Like, I did not understand where to start. So should I start with activity diagram, class diagram, and how I can move those diagrams, and when should I use a class diagram or a use case diagram? It was hard for me to understand. And what should I add on those diagrams? What should I, like when I use use case diagram, what exactly the diagram should have? But later I understood that those diagrams, the most important is the notations. The symbols, they are used to explain your idea. So for example, if we are using use case diagram and then we draw a skeleton, that means this is a rule for a user, or a user, like somebody who is using the software, a persona. Okay, so a persona is not a person. Like you can say this is a software user with specific characters, and when you draw the skeleton, that means this is a persona. And this notation, you can use it on different contexts according to the need. Similar to class diagram. Class diagram, UML doesn't have ER diagram, entity relationship diagram, but they use class diagram. So class diagram, you can present your data inside the class diagram, the static data. Also, you can present the service data, service classes, sorry, and then you can show how they are connected with your static data. And then later you can move the static data to ORM, and then from ORM you build the database. So the most important is the notations, and then how you present those notations is different according to the need. The diagram which I usually use in different contexts is sequence diagram. Sequence diagram, you can add sticks, which like objects. You can add a system, and then you show how the systems are integrated, or objects, and show how the objects are communicating with each other. I use it in very like different contexts, the same diagram, same notations, but different contexts, like to present a code, to present how the code is structured and how it's built and the patterns inside the code, or to present maybe a system and how the system is interacting with each other, or how the system is integrating with other services. Different contexts, but we use the same notations in the diagram. So same case for all the UML diagrams. We are using the notations, but you can use it on different contexts. Definitely every diagram there is kind of a guideline where to use it, how to use it, and also moving from one diagram to another. There are some like guidelines, like for example, you should start with a use case diagram. For example, that's your starting point, and then you can move to use a sequence, the deployment diagram, then sequence diagram. Or this is my preference, I will say. Maybe in other cases you don't need all those diagrams, you just need a sequence diagram. You only use case to explain some of the features in the system and who will use them. So the most important is understanding the notations and then the context where those diagrams are used, and you can start to use them as a tool to explain your ideas. One of the diagrams also I have used during my career is the C4 diagram. So C4 have different perspective, that you start from a high level overview, which is kind of the business level overview, and then you go deep until you reach to the code level. So you have 4 levels, and each level have different diagrams, set of diagrams which explain the whole system. I don't see C4 on many areas during my career. Mostly people are familiar with UML. I have used in some teams, I have used C4 to model the system. I really don't see a huge difference, except that the notations and the concept itself, definitely that the concept of vertical versus horizontal, like we move from the overview down, versus we are drawing use case, and then we are drawing to present some of the system information, and then we are drawing class diagram to present another kind of system information until the complete vision for the system is clear. Yeah, but apart from that, again, it depends on the use, like what do you want to explain, and what do you want to do exactly, and then which diagram you'll use according to your need. I see those diagrams are useful. There are some guys, they don't follow like a standard diagram, they just draw some drafts or something, but it's way far better to show a sequence diagram to software engineers, and then almost everybody know what is a sequence diagram or a use case diagram. You just draw it and give it to anybody, he will understand it. He will know what is this and that. And even if he don't understand some of the notations, he can just search online and he find plenty of resources to explain what exactly that notation, and he can understand the system out of it. It's a powerful tool. I hope that you apply and use it in your daily tasks. I usually use it, especially if the problem is complicated, or I want to explain something to someone who's not familiar with the system, and or like part of the software, he's not familiar with it, he don't have enough information yet. So I use those diagrams and those tools to explain to him. I hope this video is useful. We'll see you next time.